they basically, after at the end of the war, Sweden really made a decision to take in Holocaust survivors. A diplomat who was in charge of that operation, his name was Folke Bernadotte, a Swedish diplomat. And he organized these so-called white buses that went to the concentration camps and before the end of the war, and picked up, you know, the starving, sick people there, and took them in these buses to Sweden, drove them to Sweden, and there they were, you know, they were basically given a place to live, and they were given food, and they were integrated. The process of integration into Swedish society started, and they were offered Swedish classes, and the interesting thing is that I think almost 30,000 survivors came to Sweden that way, and they settled in some different areas in Sweden, in small towns. There was an interesting town west of Göteborg, which is the second largest city, which is called Boras. And there they actually settled a contingent of these survivors, hundreds of people, and they were given work at the textile industry in this town. And this became a Yiddish-speaking town in Sweden. A Shtetl, basically. Everything took place in Yiddish among the survivors. And so many of the people today in this Yiddish society, in the Yiddish, it's called the Yiddish-forbundet, the Yiddish Verband in Sweden, they grew up in that community in Boras. And they speak a beautiful, natural Lodger Yiddish. And so what's so unusual about the Swedish story is that there is a continuity from survivors to the second generation. You don't find that so many other places in the world, actually. It's more rare, I think. But here it actually happened. This is a story that I hope somebody will write someday, because it's a fascinating chapter of how Yiddish came to Sweden. And I think this is one of the real, I mean, perhaps the main reason why Yiddish was later made into an official minority language in Sweden, because you had such a strongly identified group of Yiddish speakers born after the war, right?